It doesn't matter whose job it is. It doesn't matter if it's the attorney's job or the paralegal's job or the file clerk's job. It's a job. We're all working for the same team. We're all working for the same cases, and we're all working for the same causes. What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Arrow TV, the #1 place for building success, independence, and happiness in our paralegal careers. Yes, I know that I'm coming to you from different scenery here, and that's because my office is just a non-creative space right now. I really needed to get out of it, and I just wanted to take you on a walk with me today. And I wanted to talk to you about the importance of systems. And the system that I want to introduce to you today has absolutely nothing to do with software and everything to do with your teams and your cases. The most valuable system that I have is the case management meetings that I have with my team members about all of my cases. I simply cannot stress to you enough the importance of case management meetings with your team members. It is so important to communicate with one another, regardless if you're in the same office or if you're digital or virtual or remote. It's so important to stay in communication with your entire team to make sure that expectations are completely managed. Okay, so when it comes to having these case management meetings, maybe you do them monthly, maybe you do them quarterly. I don't care when you do them, just do them, have them. So I know what you're thinking. I know that you're thinking, okay, well, I have hundreds of cases and there's no way on earth that I'm gonna be able to get with my team and talk about all of those cases. That's fine. You don't have to talk about all of your cases. Pick 20, pick 30, and then talk about those cases. The next time you have a case management meeting, pick the next 20 or 30, and then have a case management meeting about those. So on the flip side, you could be saying, girl, we bill by the hour here, and there is no way that our team is going to sacrifice those hours and come together and have a case management meeting. Fine. That's okay too. Guess what? You can have your own case management meeting. So allocate the time, block it off on your schedule, sit down and power through it. Trust me, it will make you a highly effective, efficient legal professional if you have these case management meetings, have your expectations managed, know what it is that you have to do and when you have to do it. So here are my tips and tricks for hosting, conducting, and wrapping up the most effective meeting that you're ever going to have with your team members. Let's go. Okay. So tip number 1 is to make sure that you allocate enough time to talk about all of your cases. Now, if I'm a guessing person, which I try never to be, it's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes per case. So I don't have some special formula or a math problem to give you that will help you figure that out. Take the number of your cases, the amount of your team members that need to talk about those cases, and allocate about 10 to 15 minutes per case. You're going to use more than 10 or 15 minutes on some of them. You're going to use less on some of them, but regardless, it'll probably even out in the end. And if this is your first rodeo, then you'll figure it out. You'll figure out how long it takes you to have these case management meetings and what's truly manageable as far as cases are concerned in these case management meetings. Okay, tip number 2 is to have an agenda. Do not think that you can fly by the seat of your pants on this one. An agenda is absolutely paramount to having the most productive case management meeting you could possibly have. Not only do you need an agenda, you need to make sure that that agenda is available for all of your team members as soon as possible. I'm talking maybe 5 days in advance, at least 5 days in advance. Maybe you can schedule these out for the entire year. You know exactly when you're going to have them. But pro tip, do not surprise your team members with a case management meeting. It's not going to give you the results that you need. It's not going to result in a productive case management meeting. It's just not. Give them enough time to prepare for the meeting. Now, when it comes to preparing this agenda, do not complicate this one, all right? Simplify to amplify. Have all of your cases listed out, put those into some sort of Word document or OneNote or into Teams or into the event that you create to invite your team members. But keep it simple, guys. Just give your team members all the cases, a list of them that you're going to discuss in that case management meeting, and leave the rest up to them. Okay, so tip number 3 is to prepare for the case management meeting. You have this agenda. It was given to you in advance, and there's no reason that you don't have time to prepare for this case management meeting. Get on top of all of your cases. Take a look at every single one of them. Make yourself some notes if you need to. In the case management meeting, it doesn't matter whose job it is. It doesn't matter if it's the attorney's job or the paralegal's job or the file clerk's job. It's a job. We're all working for the same team. We're all working for the same cases, and we're all working for the same causes. So it doesn't matter whose job it is. Go ahead and prepare the most that you possibly can for that case management meeting. Be ready to speak intelligently about it and anything about your case at a moment's notice. I can't tell you how invaluable that makes you for any law firm. Okay, tip number 4 is to host your case management meeting. Now, if it's just you and you alone that's doing this case management meeting, then you can skip this tip altogether. Pour yourself a glass of wine or perhaps a glass of scotch, put on some theme music, and power through this bad boy as long as it takes you. You've blocked off the time. If you're billing by the hour and you're doing this by yourself, then you're already used to working nights and weekends. So block off the time and just get her done. For those of us who are working with team members at the office, prior to this pandemic happening, we were all coming together in the same office. Maybe we were coming together in a conference room, and I'm sure that we will be one day. I'm sure that all of this is going to come back to somewhat normal, and we're going to be back in that conference room and having those case management meetings. Maybe we schedule that meeting over our lunch hour. Maybe we order in lunch, have that agenda in front of us, and be ready to speak intelligently with one another over lunch. For me, I do not schedule any meetings prior to 11 a.m. I do that for 2 reasons. 1, I'm usually the paralegal running the show. I put together the agenda, I'm hosting the meeting, I'm taking the notes, and because of that, I tend to have a lot to do in the morning prior to these case management meetings. 2, I'm not the only one who has things to do prior to these case management meetings. The other people and everybody else involved in these case management meetings have plenty to do themselves. And in fact, some of the biggest push that you're going to get in your cases is going to be within 48 hours of this case management meeting. So give them that time. That's why you don't want to do this at the last possible minute and give them late notice. Give them time. That push is going to occur about 48 hours prior to it. Now, because we all have things to do as well, and we're preparing for this case management meeting, you know, we're under a lot of pressure to get everything done that we possibly can in all of these cases before the case management meeting starts. But just like I said in this video right here for my paralegals, pressure makes diamonds. You've got this. You totally got this. Walk in there like a boss. If you're hosting your meeting online, I'm sure that I don't have to tell you that there are a ton of options out there. We've got Zoom, Cisco WebEx, Microsoft Teams, Duo, FaceTime. There's so many out there. Lots of avenues to host our case management meetings completely for free. Okay, so tip number 5 is to take excellent notes. Now, by taking excellent notes, I can't tell you how invaluable this makes you much later on, because you're going to be the know-it-all on all of these cases. Take notes of the status, of the deadlines, of who it's assigned to, of who's doing what, of when, and when it needs to be done by. And for me, I'm taking notes as I am moving the entire case management meeting along with all the people that are in that meeting with me. So here's what I do for my case management meetings. So remember that agenda we got in tip number 2. Turn that agenda into a note-taking document. Now for me, I convert it and move it into OneNote so I can take the notes immediately. Now I never go into a meeting without my iPad or without my laptop because I type really, really fast and there's no reason why I can't take all of those meetings straight into my meeting minutes, straight into my OneNote application, straight into Microsoft Teams or wherever it is that I need to put those notes. For me, I've designated a OneNote notebook specifically for my team members so that anybody at any time can access that notebook and know exactly what happened at any one of our case management meetings. If you're using Microsoft Teams, then you have a note-taking feature right there when you're talking to your team members, or you can toggle over to your wiki page and you can take the notes right there from your team case management meeting. Tip number 6 is that's a wrap. We need to wrap up that case management meeting. So what do? Everything is super fresh on our brains. So for me, I have to go back and take a look at all of those notes that I took to make sure that it's coherent, it makes sense, and everybody can read it. Part of what makes a case management meeting so valuable is the takeaway that we get from it. We know exactly what we have to do and exactly how long it is that we have to do it. For my own personal note-taking, you know that I use OneNote Notebook, and I actually add in a to-do checkbox so that I can go back and check off those items whenever I am done. And I know a lot of you know that I use my own case management system using the power of SharePoint. And so for me, sometimes I take those tasks and I move them over to Planner and I track the tasks there. However, I still have a tag that I put in my OneNote notebook so that I know that that task was put into Planner and I don't have to worry about it, and nobody from my team needs to worry about it either. So the tips provided in today's video is all about creating systems that help us stay proactive and productive in our mindsets. We don't want to just be shooting by the hip and reacting to everything that comes our way. We need a plan of action. And in order to get that plan of action, it's important that we come together as team members to discuss our cases. Now again, this doesn't have to be monthly. It could even be quarterly. It's completely up to you. But make sure that you have these case management meetings. Attorneys, if you're watching this, this is the best thing that you can do to manage your team members in your cases without feeling like you are micromanaging them, especially if you are working with contract, virtual, or remote team members. But regardless, having systems like this in place for our cases and with our team members make us the most efficient legal professionals possible. And when we're efficient, we're effective. And that's what our cases and our clients need from us. So let me know if you like this video by giving me a thumbs up, and click that subscribe button if you haven't already, because I would love for you to be part of my community here on Arrow TV. And of course, please hit that bell button to be notified of each and every time I post a video on here. As always, good luck to you and all that you do, because this crazy legal industry needs a paralegal boss just like you. Have a fantastic rest of your day, an awesome week, and an amazing weekend ahead of you, maybe out of quarantine. And I'll see you guys back here on the next one. Mwah. Bye, guys.